everyone, and welcome to another art lesson with me, Cindy Harrison, your artist and host of Paint with Heart. Welcome to the Paint with Heart Studios. Before we get started, I'd love to introduce you to my bestie in my LA satellite office, Melissa Reyes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Reyes, and you can call me Ms. Meliz. I'm really excited to be here with you on this, the final day of the 2017 Ornament Collection series, where we're going to be painting 2 ornaments for Cindy's collection, and the theme today is bloom. So I have my little daily affirmations book here, and this is the page with bloom, and it says, blooming takes great strength, energy, and boldness. When you're ready, it will just happen uncontrollably. And so I'm really excited to hear and see what Cindy has prepared for us. And it has a little to do with blooming. The first project is more about being bold, I think, that bold and brightness.
Well, lighting the path.
Yes.
It's you know, because every bloom needs some sunlight to grow, right? To blossom. So this
there you go.
This is feeding us the light that we need to bloom. So yes, this is called Candlelight Christmas, and so we're going to turn this lantern cutout into this Christmas lantern. And what I did first was seal and sand the wood, as you should always, unless you're staining it, of course. And I painted the top and this base with 2 coats of graphite. And as you see, I taped it off so it made it easier to get that straight line. We're going to work on the top and the base, and then we're going to go on to the gold, and then we'll go on to the center. So if you have a graphite pencil or a chalk pencil, and you want to be able to make a straight line across your piece, have a T-square or some kind of a ruler, and you can go right from the, if I put it on white, maybe you can see it better. So I'm going to go from one corner to the other corner, straight across. Line those up.
Quick question, do you paint the whole thing with zinc first and then put the tape on and do?
What I did was I didn't paint this yet. Pretend that wasn't painted.
Okay.
On this side, I put the tape just from corner to corner. So that I can paint this top part graphite.
Thank you. So I'm going to do that now. And it's graphite.
Yeah, the top part is graphite. And then I'm going to put a line where the yellow band is going to be from that peak across to the other peak. And from each peak. Okay, now I'm going to first off shade these areas with lamp black. So put out a puddle of that. And I'm going to start with my 3/4 inch. With clean water in your brush, if you'd like, pre-wet an area, pick up that black, and I'll do it over here so you see. I kind of do it on the corner, so one corner is paint and the other corner is water. And I'm going to go across, paint down, water up across the bottom of that base. Doesn't show up too much right now, but it will in time. I'll wash the brush out and start fresh again. Pre-wet the area on the sides. If you go over your chalk lines, you will erase them. Do the same touchdown motion as you did over here, and I'm going to walk that in. Turn my brush over so the black paint's on the outside edge, and then walk the brush again in towards the center. If you go over the line, you can take your clean brush and just wipe it back a little bit. Now we have this larger section here. I'm going to wet just that section. Pick up some of that paint on the corner of my brush, and I'm going to start inside a little bit here because then I can pull it back up. The paint is against that line, and I just pat, pull, and tickle the surface after I'm done. This will coax the paint out of the brush. Now you get to size down to, we can do a 12 or an 8. I'm gonna go try my 8. I don't usually like side loading with less than a 10, but let's try the 8. I didn't pre-wet, but you can go ahead and pre-wet. And I'm going to put the black against that line, so we're above the line. If you were looking orientation-wise this way, we're putting the paint above the line. All hairs down all the time, don't forget. That's the only way the paint's going to know what you want it to do on the paintbrush. Pre-wet. Pick up some more on the corner of the brush. Go across the bottom against that line. And then last but not least, we're going to hit on this, darken that. Let's blow dry that. Now we're going to make it easy for you. If you have a moon brush or a hard bristle brush, okay, we're going to start with that. And I'm going to start with zinc. Pick up some of that zinc color, and we're going to work it into our brush like that. Wipe off excess on a piece of paper towel. This is where you want to have a piece of baby wipes or something so you can wash your brush off without wetting it. And I'm going to scrub across the top of those areas, the top of this area, or the kind of centered it, but the top. This one here, I'm going to go across about 2/3 of this big area. Staying to the top. Don't go into your dark. And then the center of this one. And the center top of this one. Now, without washing your brush, go into the Dove Gray. I wiped the excess off, and now I'm touching those same areas, only I'm going to try and keep it in a smaller area so it doesn't go as far across as the zinc did. If this is not as bright as you would like it to be, go ahead and pick up some warm white. Be sparing on this one. Wipe the excess off in your paper towel and just barely hit some of that area. Kind of going even in a smaller area than the Dove Gray. Now I'm going to wipe the brush off on a piece of baby white. kind of just to clean it a little bit, but not wet it in the bucket of water. And we're going to tape off the top and bottom of the bands here. And then we're going to tape off above the scroll. We're going to base coat those in with moon yellow. So you want to have as little water on your brush as possible. And I'm going to, I put the brush so that it's mostly on the tape, and then work my way up to that line. Now, if you want to tape off and do one line at a time, you can do that too. Okay, so if we get out some raw, sienna, and remember that dry brush that we have that we didn't wash, right? We're going to pick up some of that raw sienna, work it into our brush, wipe the excess off on a dry piece of paper towel, and we're going to come in from the edges of the moon yellow, scratching the surface, lightening your pressure as you get closer to the inside. Heavy pressure on the outside, lighter on the inside. Do that on the side too. Heavier on the outside, lighter as you get to the inside. And I'm also going to do that around the bottom area against the base of the lamp. I did it around the outside of the scrolls here. And bottom of here. Don't wash your brush out, just wipe it off on a piece of baby wipe or a damp paper towel. I'm going to pick up some light buttermilk. Again, same brush. We're not changing our brush. We're just wiping the excess off on paper towel or a baby wipe. So I have some of that light buttermilk, and now I'm going to follow where you put the highlights on the lantern here and do that in that same area on the yellow band. In the bottom, we're going to do it in the center in like a big circular motion. Okay, now I'm going to go into the warm white that we have out from earlier when we did that, gray areas. And I'm going to now add that in a smaller area on the bands. And down here, keeping it tighter to the center. Now I'm going to wash this out because we won't be using it for a while. Next, I'm taking out my 24 karat Extreme Sheen metallic paint. So whatever gold that you have, you can either put it on with the same brush, even though it's damp, or you can use a flat brush and go over it. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take some of that and just go right across the whole thing. This Extreme Sheen is not a solid paint. It's like a glaze. So you're gonna see the darks and the lights right through it. Like you can't even tell that I put gold on top of this, really. And then now we can lift off the tape. And we have our gold band, see?
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to blow dry that before we can move on. If any paint got over an area you don't want it, try to wipe it off with your brush. But you know what? I'm not going to be too worried about it because we're going to, I mean, I have imperfections, right? I've got one there, I've got one over here, but it's okay because we've got snow to put on it, all this fun stuff. Make sure that's dry so that when you put your tape back on, you're not taking off the paint. I'm taping off above and below so that I can paint the centers now. And that's going to be done in zinc. Now, if you have your line drawing handy dandy, place that over top. Try to line it up as you can. And you want to trace on your supports. And I'm going to do it with the light graphite. And you can trace on your candle as well. I'm going to base in these supports with graphite first, like the graphite that we used to do the top and bottom with. So base those in with graphite first. Then we're going to highlight them just like we did with these with the dry brush, if your brush is dry. If not, you can do it later. I'm going to use my number 3 round. While it's drying, I'm going to go over to my candle and I'm going to base my candle with the light buttermilk. And I really didn't need to put the this line in here because I'm going to base the whole thing with the light buttermilk. And I'm going to use my number 12 flat. Next I'm going to do is shade underneath the top and above the bottom. I'm going to start with putting graphite because we based in zinc. So I will start with graphite. You can pre-wet that area now that your posts are dry. Pick up some of that graphite on the corner of your brush. And I'm going to do water down, paint up, go across that whole area. If I get some on my candle, easy peasy, clean your brush off, and as long as it's dry, you can wash off the graphite. I'm going to do the same across the bottom. Let's dry that. Next I'm going to do is shade and highlight the holes, and I'm just going to use my number 3 round. But as I did, I'm using the same colors I did on top. Pick up some zinc, and I'm going to just dry brush some of that in the top section of the pole of the supports. And I say dry brush because I didn't put any moisture in it. I'm just kind of tickling the surface. You can make it higher in the back, lower in the front. Because we're picking up the glow of the candle. Take all that moisture out, go and pick up the dove gray, make it a shorter area that you're covering. Higher in the back, lower in the front. I'm wiping it off, I'm not even washing it out, and I'm going to pick up some moon yellow and go right over that dove gray area. Pick up some black, matte black, with the same brush, and I'm going to pull down from the top just a little bit more on the sides, less in the middle, and then pull up. And that's it for those. So what I'm going to do next is work on the candle. And I put 2 coats, and I don't know that you can tell, but you can still kind of, let me see if I can fix the focus here. See how I don't know if you can tell, you can still kind of see through it. It's not 100% solid, but it's okay because we're going to be doing a bunch of shading and highlighting on it, so that won't even show when we're done. If you want to draw the line, this front line, or you put your pattern back on, whatever makes you happy. So I put that back on. Now I'm going to pick up that raw sienna, and we're going to add shading to our candle. I am going to use my number 12 flat. You can pre-wet. Let's pre-wet the inside first. Pick up on the corner of your brush, paint down, water up, and bring it inside your candle. Kind of walk that up. Bring it over here. Don't even worry about the flame or anything like that just yet. If you have a mop brush, which looks like this, go ahead and mop that out, soften that off, wipe it off on a dry paper towel. Now we're going to pre-wet down the sides. You might want to blow dry that top piece if you're afraid that you're going to get your brush into it. Touch it into some raw sienna. I'm working on the left side of the candle, so my paint is on the left, my water is on the right. I'm going to bring that down, and then I'm going to walk it toward the center. I want it relatively wide and really dark on the outside edge. So about 1/3 of the way across. And then I'm going to mop that out so I don't have all those lines. Isn't that beautiful already?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I looked down for a minute. Look what you did. All I did is little graphite lines here. And I'm not even done with that.
Pre-wet the other side. This side I'm going to keep a little bit tighter to the edge. Paint on the right side of the brush, water on the left. On the candle, on the right side of the candle. Again. Now that my top is dry, it dried lighter than I want it to be. So I'm going to make it a second application of the raw sienna. Let's dry that. Now I'm going to do a highlight. You can do the highlight with the moon brush or a dome brush if they're dry. If not, we can do a back-to-back float, what I call a back-to-back float. And I start again with the pre-wetting of that area. We're going to do the front of the candle. I'm going to pick up some warm white, and it's on one side of my brush, as you can see, and the other side is water. And I'm going to put the part of the brush that has the paint on it right down the center of the highlight area. Turn my brush around so now the water end is on the left and paint is touching the paint in the middle. So I always flip. Water is always to the outside of the candle and the paint is in the middle. Not that you can tell, but it should be a little bit brighter right through that center. With what's left on your brush, you can kind of bring it across the top of the back area. Very gently, it's not a lot of paint. Touch that top, touch the top there. With your liner brush, I'm going to use my 10-aught liner. I'm going to pick up some of that warm white, and I'm actually going to bring it around here and hit the top of my candle. I'm just doing the sides and the bottom here. I'm not doing the back piece, the front and the sides. I'm going to put on the drips. I'm going to use my 3 round, and I'm going to pick up light buttermilk first. Load your brush. And I like turning my piece upside down when I do that. And I'm going to start with this big bulbous kind of drippy thingy over here and smushy it down. And then as you pull it up the side of the candle, I twist and make it thin. Again, pick up another load. Go squishy, 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 twist, and then make it thin. And then the next one, a little fat at the bottom, squish and make it thin.
Cute.
Now on the drips, we're going to add highlights of warm white and then shade it with some raw sienna at the base. So now I'm going to take some raw sienna, a little bit. You can pre-wet if you want, and I'm just going to go along the bottom of each drip. And because the drip on this side, on the right side, doesn't show up a lot, you can go and pre-wet around it and add some raw sienna. To punch that up. Mop that out. Do the same, deepen the one around the base here. And that kind of punches those up a little bit more, makes them more visible. Now I'm going to add the wick and real hard liner brush, your 10-aught liner brush, and some black, and kind of center that right there. Bring it a little higher. And now, while that's drying, and I have my liner brush out, I'm gonna pick up some raw sienna on my liner brush and do these little squiggles of branches, and I'm just gonna freehand it. This is not gonna be like my line drawing because it really doesn't matter. If my wick is dry, I'm going to go back to check and see if your brush is dry. If not, I'm gonna pick up my number 8 dome round. And I'm gonna start with some light buttermilk. Work it into your brush and wipe it off on a dry piece of paper towel. And right where that flame is going to be, I'm going to create this glow by scratching with the light buttermilk first. That area.
Oh, that looks cute.
Then I'm gonna take my brush, wipe off the excess, and go ahead and pick up some of the moon yellow. Wipe that out, wipe the excess off of my paper towel. And I'm going to go in the center and scrub that moon yellow. Again, wiping off the excess off my paper towel. Go and pick up some Canyon orange. And again, I'm gonna wipe most of it off on my paper towel. And I'm gonna stay to the outside of the yellow. And just scratching around the outside of the yellow. And I am gonna bring that color over my candle. Wipe the excess off. Pick up some country red. And on the outside of the orange now, but I'm not gonna bring it down over the candle. I'm just gonna stay up in the gray area. Overlap the orange a little bit. Now I'm going to wash the brush out. The flame I'm going to do with my number 3 round, and I'm going to first do moon yellow. And that flame kind of teardrop motion. And do one coat and then hit it off with your finger because it is not a solid coverage. I'm going to pick up my number 8 flat, and I'm going to pre-wet that flame as long as it's dry. Pick up some Canyon Orange. Paint down. I'm going to do this little C stroke right at the base of that flame. Bring it up almost to, 1/3 of the way up. I'm going to dry that. And then repeat with the country red. Pre-wet. The very tip is actually going to be touched down with warm white. That's it for the candle. We're going to put on a leaf. I'll show you how to do a leaf and the snow, and then I'll show you the bonus ornament. So if you have a line drawing, go ahead and put that on. If not, I'm just going to base my desert cactus, the leaves with desert cactus. And you can draw them on, you can paint them on. I'm just going to paint these on freehand. And this is where I've got to take the tape off because my things will overlap. The base. They come down below the base. So you can even add more peaks and valleys. This particular leaf over here, I did a side view of. It's just kind of folded. Once those are in, I'm going to blow dry that. I'm going to take some Black Forest greens. I'm going to take a bit of the Black Forest green and I'm going to put it at the bottom or where one overlaps the other on that back petal. On this one, it's at the base. I'll go put the paint up towards wherever it's coming out of the center on the rest of these. This side one can go across the, if you want to pre-wet, go ahead and do that. And last but not least, this one up here. From peak to peak to peak. So pretty much that's what that is. Then with your little bit of the light buttermilk mixed in with your desert cactus, you can come up with a lighter value green and highlight them. So I just kind of brush mix the two colors together on my brush. And you can go from the top peak to the sides. Side. If they don't show up, add more light buttermilk. And on this one, we're going to go up in the peaks up there. I'm not too particular because they're really, really tiny. And we could make ourselves go crazy. Liner brush and Black Forest green, and then you're going to sharpen the peaks by just outlining them. And you're going to do your center vein. And you can do little offshoots of those. Helps if you rotate your piece to what makes it comfortable for you. On this vein here, though, you're going to want to stay with the brush mix of the desert cactus and light buttermilk. So it will show up. That's those. On the raw sienna, I put some light buttermilk. I put some black forest where the branches come away from the holly and at the where they meet, where there's a bend in there. And then I took some warm white and added some snow by tapping the warm white over the branch area and have it come down. It's not a lot. It's just really just tapped in there. There's nothing special. If you have a leaf, you want to put some on a leaf, just tap it in on the leaf. The berry, you can use your 3 round and some of the country red and put balls of red with the 10-aught and some of that black forest. I do a little stroke at the bottom. And then the light buttermilk, you can put a little dot at the top. And then you can cover those with snow as well. So pretty much that's that. That's what they all look like. So,
yay, the bonus one.
Melissa's favorite.
So pretty.
So
yes.
These ornaments here are the old frosted ornaments that had blemishes on them. And I think I still have one here that I did. That you see how some of the stuff is missing. There's, I painted over this one, but I don't like it. So what I did with that is I took some Zots large glue dots or clear adhesive dots.
Oh, that's how you did it.
Do you have some of those, Melissa?
Uh-huh.
So find where they are on your piece. And then if you put the blemish over top of that dot and you rub on it, not so much you're going to break the ball with the pressure, but you rub on it to get that glue dot to adhere to the ball. And then you peel that away. The dot should stay on the ball. See? Then what I did was took my glitter. I can open this. My new glitter. And I put the dot over the bottle as tight as I can and shook the glitter on the bottle. Tap it off. And hopefully this is a fine glitter, so it's sticking to everything. Also, too, I've got a lot of, it's dry up here, too, so the static electricity.
Mm.
So. How that stays on the...
Yeah, you're so smart.
Isn't that cool?
So did you just do them to cover the little spots, or did you do them kind of random?
Well,
What if
I started with covering the spots first. And then if there's areas that didn't have any spots and it was blank, then I added them randomly.
Okay.
So cover the spots first and then move on to making it look like they belong there.
Hope I have enough dots.
That you weren't covering spots on purpose. Yeah, this is like a gold, greeny gold, which is really good. The one that I used on this wall was actually glitter, glass glitter vintage green. These are huge darts, which are actually would cut you if you put your hand against it. So what I did with that is, because they were so sharp, I took my glossy accents or my liquid glass. I have glossy accents here, or my liquid glass, and I put it over top of it. And you can see that it has a plastic coating, which means it's still not smooth, but it's not going to cut you like the straight glass is. So if you wanted to keep your glitter on your ornament and not have it rub off onto everything else, you can go ahead and coat this with your glossy accents or your liquid glass, and it will stay on. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Uh-oh. Yep, that was the last one. Almost last one. Let's see. Oh, stick.
Now for our paper, I took just regular white cardstock and Xeroxed my line drawing onto it. I wasn't worried about it. If you want to, if you see through this, well, if it's up to a light, you can see the back of it. But right now we're going to worry about the front. I'm going to base coat each petal with boysenberry plus warm white. And you would have pre-paired your piece with some of the multi-surface sealer, because I find that if you put the paint right onto the paper, it soaks it up like unfinished woods, you know, unsealed wood, like a stain. And then it takes a lot of paint to paint your project. So if you start with the sealer and the mix, then it'll stay on top. You'll get better coverage of paint. Now, if you go over the lines, as long as you can still see the lines, that's fine. You will be able to cut it out. You can make it a light pink. You can make it a darker pink. Wouldn't go too dark, not straight boysenberry, but if you do, you just adjust your shadow, your shading colors and your highlight colors. So all the petals are this pink mix. I mixed on the original, I mixed them with a palette knife first so that I had enough puddle so that they were all the same tone of pink. I'm going to paint the leaves with the, this is going to keep you out here for a second. I'm going to paint the leaves with cranberry wine. Now, because there's moisture, it will buckle a little bit. What I did was I turned it over and I held it up to the light, and I could see where I had painted. So I painted in the back side with this mix as well. So I just went ahead and did that as well. I'm going to do a second coat of cranberry wine on my leaves. What we're going to do is take our big mother brush here, the 3/4 inch one. And if you want, go ahead and I'm going to pre-wet around the petals, around the center of the petals, the width or a little bit beyond the width of the brush. And on the corner of my brush, I picked up some of that cranberry wine. I have cranberry wine on one corner and water on the other. Okay. Now I'm going to start against the center, and I'm just going to walk it around the petals. You can bring it out a little bit further, because at least on the big one, because you're going to cover it with the little one. If you have a mop brush and you've got too many liney thingies, just mop it out. We'll blow dry that. For the outside of each petal, the peak, you can pre-wet that also, all the peaks. And on the corner of the brush, you're going to pick up the canyon orange, and you're going to go across that. And I'm not particular, as you can tell. I'm just taking the brush and going across the top. I'm going to take my 10 up. What'd you do?
I don't know. I think this is pretty.
There you go. That's what it looks like.
Reminds me of my mandalas.
Right, and that's what it looks like.
I know. It's fun. It's going to be awesome when it's cut out. Okay.
It is. It's going to be fantastic.
I know it is.
Go over here. So I'm taking my liner brush, and I'm going with some moisture in it. Make your cranberry wine kind of inky. And I'm going to pull lines kind of up the center, start all kind of coming out of the same dot. If you dot here in the center, and you just kind of bring those lines out. Make sure you got water in it. It works better if you got some water in them. I don't like that one. Terry's it is. Wash it right off.
I like to make flowers.
You do.
It's my year in bloom, so I can make flowers.
I'm going to take that 24 karat gold that we used on our lantern, and I'm going to paint that over top of the canyon orange.
Awesome.
And I'm not really being picky. I'm just putting the color on there. The next thing is going to be the leaf. That's it for those petals, by the way. Other than we're going to cover them with glamour dust paint and sprinkle on, because to me the paint never has enough glitter in it. So I would, just like the snow on the lantern, to do the snow on the lantern, once you've painted on that snow, you hit it with the glamour dust, and then you sprinkle some of the sprinkle on glamour dust, and that let it dry, and it will be way sparkly.
So when do we do that?
So I would, you can do it now, or you can wait till you cut it out and then do it. I believe I did it first. I did it now and painted this on and sprinkled this on, and then cut it out. But then you get glitter everywhere. And if you don't mind getting glitter everywhere, then do it now.
I love getting glitter everywhere.
So, yeah, you take the glitter, you paint this on, and then sprinkle it with a little bit of this.
Not the one I wanted. It'll work.
And it can get over glittery if there's a such thing.
You're funny.
Well, I know.
Just kidding.
And see how it's like wicked glitter.
Oh, it's very pretty.
Then I would
It's
let
so
it dry
pretty.
completely before you cut it out. With your pencil, I drew the center vein lines and the side lines to give me an idea of where I'm going.
Get your pencil. Hold on, I gotta find the pencil.
And
Good. Sorry. There it is.
I'm taking my number 8 flat. And this is a tricky part. I was trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I loaded my brush up with that desert cactus. And I started outside of the design and I swooped it in flat, swooped it into the center. And a little bit of moisture. So I'm start outside and swooped it towards the center, but I try not to go over the center. And then clean off my brush and flick up a side vein where you might have covered it. See how I did that? I'll do it on this side. I'm going down because mine grows out of here. This is the point here where it's growing from. So every stroke I do is going to go towards that area. These all went that way. Okay, does this make sense? Start beyond the design and run that color in to the center without going over the center as best you can. Wash your brush out. Come in, clean off your center vein if you need to, if you went over it. And then you're going to pull the clean water edge of your brush on the chisel up to make the veins, the side veins. Then dry that, and with that 24 karat gold, do the same thing. But don't cover all the green, keep it toward the outer edge. Now you're going to want to make, I only gave you a drawing for 2 sizes on your leaves, so you're going to want to double that up and make another tracing and add 2 more leaves to that, so you have a total of 4. Then I cut this. And if you cut your lines and you don't know where your lines are anymore, I mean, if you covered them with paint, just start cutting. And it doesn't matter as long as you stay within the painted area. And you have a leaf. The flower sometimes gets a little trickier. When you get down to a certain area, you don't want to go all the way down to the center. You want to stop short and then go up the other side. So I took the crown off of my ornament and I slipped this down over top of it. And see how that slips down? But because now it's sticking up, see how high it's sticking up? That's not very attractive. So what I end up doing is putting it between my finger and my forefinger and my thumb and start bending it downward. Bend it downward.
Yeah.
But when you bend it down, now when you put it on there, it goes down, see?
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to paint, like I said, the backs of that because it will show. Once you've got that in place, then you take this, put a dab of glue on the back of it, and you stick it where you feel you need to have some greenery. But don't hesitate to roll your finger under that as well. And then when you put that down, it'll hug the ornament better. So that is, once you've got those in place, you put your crown back on, you're ready to go, rock and roll. I found these beads, Melissa I know has tons of beads. I found these beads that are glittery,
Oh, that's
but
pretty.
not. And I put them on a wire and wrap the wire around to make a ring. And then I can glue them right on that. So you have those little, now if you don't have those, but you do have, I can get it, these, you can put those around there too.
Let me see. You're not in frame.
Oops, hold on.
You're hiding it from us.
See that?
Oh, the little crystal.
Yeah, you can either put the crystals around flat that way, or you can put them around flat onto the actual crown. Like that. Then I had a gold wire and I stuffed the wire through the hoop. So easy peasy. Don't forget to do the backs. I did not glue these petals on. I believe if I took the crown off, I could remove them. I think the crown, keeps them on, but I did glue the leaves on.
It's gorgeous. I don't have my leaves on yet, but I'll show you what I've got so far.
Oh, pretty. So you're going to bend them down?
Oh, sorry. I didn't bend it down enough for you. Okay. There.
Isn't that pretty? Show me the front top. Isn't that beautiful?
So So, and the dots you can't see
because
they're green.
But wasn't that easy and fun to do?
Yeah, very fun. And they look pretty. And so I was curling these down a little bit more.
Yeah, warm them between your forefinger, your index finger, and your thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but that's pretty.
I use a pencil to get a curl. I like that curl kind of.
Yeah, the pencil doesn't have the warmth that your fingers do. And I think it's the warmth of your fingers that moisten, and the moistness of your hands is what warms up the paper to bend. Something about that someone once told me. Yeah. But I love it. That's awesome. Let's see what Ophelia's done.
Yeah, there, but I made an effort.
There you go. Very nice. So if you also too, if when you're done, you can take some gold on your finger or on a brush, and you can rub this white edge, this cut.
Oh, on the edges? Okay.
Yeah, the cut edge, you can wipe it with some gold so it's not so stark white. And I would do the same on my ornament. Either you can do...
How many flowers are you using altogether?
I only use the two
2?
the 2 sizes that I printed, but I did cut 2 extra leaves.
Okay.
It's time to go. My little slippers are ready to go make some magic. Well, and to finish my project, oh my God, my desk is a mess, Cindy.
Bet you it's full of glitter.
Oh my God, I'm gonna take a picture so you can see it. And be like, what the heck happened? Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
It's such a mess. I had fun. I had fun today. Thank you. Boom. So this has been a wonderful year. This has been a great time. I had a fun time doing the 2016 ornament collection. I don't know if you could see, but see this little guy right here, this little penguin. I've got mine up here from last year. And let's see what else. This little Chester I've got up here. I got that out from last year. And then this year we did the hot cocoa, and a whole bunch of other things. Oh, there's some keys down there and my sled. It's just so much fun. I can't wait to see the finished book from this year. And someone just tweeted me about, because every week I send out a tweet with a video of what we're doing. And someone mentioned that, wow, Melissa, you're going to have your whole tree full of ornaments that you and Cindy made. And I said, yeah, if I had actually finished them all, I'd have 24 beautiful ornaments on our tree. So this has been such a great experience, Cindy. I want to thank you. Thank you for a wonderful year. It's been a year in bloom. I just feel like we've blossomed and made such a beautiful bouquet of wonderful, wonderful projects and all kinds of things that we've produced together. And I thank you. Thank you all for being here and for watching. And I'm looking forward to next year. Shall I reveal what my word for next year is going to be?
Go for it.
Action. It's going to be the year in boom. And we're going to make things happen. That's it. The year in action. So,
I love that. A year in boom.
a year in boom.
Well, I hope that everyone has had a wonderful time watching Paint with Heart throughout this whole year. It's been a magical year for me. I wouldn't think it could have topped last year when I met Melissa and we started this program. But I'll tell you, every week has just been better than the week before. And so everyone here has enriched my life in one way or another. And I want to thank everyone who's watching live, watching on the replay, and who's ever been a part of Paint with Heart. Thank you so much. And those of you who are just finding us now, please stay with us and we will bring you some more wonderful projects in the future. Yeah.
In the beginning of the year, we had up to 12 people in the room at a time, maybe sometimes even more, and we were coming for a lot, but it just faded out towards the end of the year. So we hope to get people back and really grow it next year again. We'll try.
And we can use your help with that. Spread the cheer, tell your friends, anybody who might be interested in painting. I know that I do move fast sometimes because I'm trying to do a project in an hour when we had 2 ornaments, but typically I do a project in 2 hours. So it's not as fast paced. But what's good about it is you get to look at the reviews, replays, because you can stop and rewind as many times as you need to, and you don't have to feel like you're interrupting any class because it's your private class,
right,
just for you.
That's the best part. I can't stop talking. Well, I usually mute myself and keep talking, so I'll do that right now.
So at any rate, from Melissa and myself, we wish you all the best of the holiday, and thank you again for a wonderful year. So until next year, because we're off for a few weeks, until next year, remember to always paint with heart.
Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank
Oh,
you, Phil. You
brilliant.
too.
Thank you so
And
much.
Cheryl, Merry Christmas.